Here we are back again for more of my story and my journey. We have a meaty topic today, and I am not just trying to be punny. There's a lot to this. I've been sitting on this for a while trying to think about how to do this in a concise way. So I hope that I could tie this all together with a good bow and give you a good overview of my journey. This goes after the last two videos. They kind of stack on top of each other, so watch those two first because this one is kind of like the next few years of me having to experiment. Like I was saying, I said, God, I won't change my lifestyle. So what did that look like? What did my journey of discovering God look like? I'm going to divide this video into two different shoots. Not like photo shoots, but like laundry shoots. My dirty laundry shoots. So we have hookup lane and sex drive. Alright, I'm done. I'm totally done with the jokes. After my last relationship, like I said, I went to Minneapolis. I got home. Within that week, my mom asked me to go to a conference with her. It was a women's conference at her church. Normally, I wouldn't have wanted to go. No thanks, Mom. I don't want to go to church with you. But because I had that experience with the Bob Goff sermon, I thought, sure, I might get something out of this. The thing I remember most about this conference is that this woman starts praying over soul ties. And I had heard of soul ties in the past. I thought, I don't know if they really exist, but she's praying over them. And she says, she's like praying so powerfully and prays to like break off soul ties in the name of Jesus. And I'm sitting in my chair and all of a sudden it was like something literally, I mean, seriously broke. Physically, my whole body was shaking. I was crying. I can't even describe what happened, but something really shifted in that moment. And it was after that that I had that clarity that not only did we have to stop having sex, but I started to think, sex is really kind of powerful. I don't know if I want to play with fire like that. Immediately, I did know really strong, I don't want to have sex. Like that was the only hard line right away that I knew I wanted to draw moving forward, especially like not being in a relationship, not having a potential for a relationship. I was like, I don't want to have sex. But my deal with God was, God, I'm still going to do these things. And if I'll have a teachable heart. If you want to show me something through these experiences, great. But I'm not going to stop doing something for the sake of doing it because I think it's a rule, or I've heard maybe it's a rule, or I think this is maybe something that you think I shouldn't do. You don't go from being in a relationship for 7 years to nothing and not struggle hard. Like physically wanting someone, physically figuring out what to do with all those emotions and those cravings and those desires and all that. I want to tell people about my journey because if it helps save them time or heartache or just spinning their wheels, that's why I want to do this, and this is why I want to go a little more into detail and share more of my story, because I think a lot of people struggle with this, especially single people, but who's really talking about it, and I want to, because I'm out on the other end, and I feel like it's totally time for me to talk about how I worked through all of those years. So like I said, we're going to break this off into two shoots of hooking up and sex. But hooking up, there's kind of two shoots that break off of that because there's no commitment within the context of hooking up. So you're either using someone or you're being used. A lot of times if you're using someone, you don't want to be with them, which was mostly the case, was pretty much always the case for me. And on the other end, you have being used by someone, which is like maybe you have feelings for them, but they're not on the same page. You're hoping that, maybe they'll want me if I just keep doing this, or maybe you'll get them to like you the better you are physically, which is not how it works. Sorry to break it to you. That side, I mean, you're setting yourself up for so much hurt when the feelings aren't reciprocal like that. Each one is motivated by pleasure, fun, wanting to suffocate your loneliness, connection, seeking validation. Like that's kind of the reasons you're doing it. And all of those, like I totally know now, you're not gonna really get the best of those things through hooking up. But like I said, I want to share more of my journey of how I discovered that and how long it took me. Here we go. I'm gonna dive in. I have journal entries and I want to kind of pull out a few that were really impactful for me. Big kind of epiphanies or realizations that made me see that I can't do this. The first one was with someone I met when I was out. I was traveling and met him. I was super physically attracted to him. Like, dang. I was like, he is my type. So basically, I remember meeting him and there were some things I didn't really care for about his personality, the way he was kind of acting with some of the people. Because of my last relationship, I can tell really fast, this is someone I could potentially see myself with or would want to be with, and this is not. And I can peg it very, very, very fast. So right away I knew, no, this guy is not that. But the physical part was so strong. I just remember thinking, yes, I don't care about anything else. I want this and I'm gonna do it. This is some of what I wrote after that experience. I just kept wanting to fill my physical touch tank. I could just feel it filling a bit when I was with him, and it was addicting. Being with him reminded me a lot of feelings I've had with my ex. First, I'll start by pointing out that I felt this really strong draw to him after that night. I found it so intriguing that because I was so attracted to him and because of that strong pull, I found myself wanting to overlook everything else, brush things under the rug that actually matter, and make up reasons why I like him when I really didn't, and I knew I didn't right away. This is the exact same thing I did with my ex. I think it's easy for me to get caught up in the physical that I overlook other important factors and warning signs. I did not want to repeat history. That terrified me. It's like, Sarah, if you keep doing that. And luckily we weren't in the same city for a long time, but I was so drawn to him, I would have kept seeing him and probably hooking up and probably having sex, I'm sure. And I would have just been repeating history. And that scared the living daylights out of me. So that lesson that I learned kind of from that was, Sarah, you really need to be cautious and careful about the physical attraction part and how that totally puts these blinders on you and makes you see the person in a different way that's not good and healthy. And I felt convicted that means you're using someone, right? If you know you don't want to be with them, but you're just choosing to be anyway. I felt convicted about using that guy, but also my ex for so long. Then I started to easily differentiate, okay, when I knew I didn't want to be with someone, but I just physically wanted them. I could tell, and I knew that was what was going on, but it wasn't ever enough. My self-control was not strong enough for me to say no to what my body wanted. So this is what I said with this guy. I felt that this would happen with him and that I know what I want out of it, but for all the reasons I shouldn't be pursuing it, everything in me wants it. I love just being in his arms. I can't stand not having that. If I get my fix, I know I'll be left unsatisfied after still, but I just don't care. I just want it. I guess I should really pray about this. This is so rough. I really don't feel bad about it. Part of me feels like I was weak and shouldn't have done that, but it was pretty harmless and fun. The thing with hooking up is that it's like a drug, I feel like. You get your fix and then you just want more, which is where I'm at. And since I can't have it and don't want it with that person, it just feels like a bummer and empty. I guess I'm also searching for validation for him, but in that context, you don't get it. I feel like my tank was pretty empty and maybe it filled 15%, but you almost feel more empty after than you did before because you had it and now you can't. Either you can't have it because a lot of times, the good Lord, thank you Lord, a lot of times it was when traveling and I wasn't in the same city with someone, so I didn't, keep doing it with these people, which I'm so thankful. Oh my gosh. And God, I think really protected me in that sense. But I said, I just want a relationship next. So that's when I started to realize, I know I want this physical stuff, but what I actually want is a relationship. Not that long after this one, I randomly meet this guy and I remember making out. I was like, this is what you think you want physically. This is what you think your body wants, but this feels absolutely like nothing. It feels like nothing. And that's when I started understanding that the physical is so meaningless when you don't know the person at all. This is another one a few months later. This is all caps. I'm so sick of missing that kind of touching and holding. I wasn't that into him, to be honest, but I just wanted it so bad. When you do it so fast, it feels so cheap. You're cheapening what the ex could mean and should mean. There's no mystery. You just put yourself out there and give it away like it's nothing special. There's nothing to uncover or discover, and I guess that's what I feel disappointed in myself about. Getting weak again, getting tired, and not just holding on to the fact that God will fulfill his promises and I need to keep my eyes on him. Yes, I feel broken or down because I'm struggling to find the strength to stay steadfast and not keep giving myself away like that. But I just like it so much. Oh man, those struggles, they were so real. They were so real. And that happened. I started to realize, okay, like I said, I want this in a relationship, not just these hookups. I mean, I didn't for a while. I started to be better about that and realize no, this is not actually what I want, especially with somebody I don't know. And if I was depressed or struggling or just really in a funk, that's when I was able to check, and especially being tired of waiting and kind of frustrated with God, why can't you bring someone? And so I would get in this mentality. I call it the F it mentality, like F it. Like, I don't care. I know all this stuff, but I'm gonna do it anyway. It was very deliberate. And this is the next one. So right away, I was just not into it. It was too quick and I felt nothing for him because I don't know him. It was the same, this is what you think you want, but it doesn't actually deliver feeling. I just want to get to know someone and them to get to know me. I don't care about the physical at the end of the day. I want that emotional connection so bad. It's so hard when those things happen because I feel like I should feel bad about the act of hooking up, but that's not what I feel bad about. I feel bad because after I just want it more than I did before, and I'm looking for validation or attention from him, even though I don't actually want to be with him. That's what makes me feel empty, and that's why I know I shouldn't do these kinds of things. It just puts me in such a funk. Is from, realizing like I just want that emotional connection. The next guy, it was that I wasn't physically attracted to him, which is usually like, that was always the draw for me, was the physical part. Emotionally, I let my guard down and I was kind of lonely, and I think I was just a little bit vulnerable in that way. Alcohol was involved too, and it ended up in an experience that was kind of traumatic and triggering. And after that, I really realized, wow, I need to emotionally guard my heart, and I really don't want to do this. And so that was honestly like the last time, and that was this is kind of the progression of different things that would happen, different feelings that I would have throughout, because it was really, really, really hard to say no to these desires and to not do it, because ultimately I knew like the instant gratification of doing it wasn't worth the feelings that I would feel afterwards, especially like wanting it more but not with that person. That was like the biggest thing, and realizing I was using people. I could not stomach the fact that I was like, Sarah, you cannot use these guys. And that's what I was doing. I knew every time, no, I don't want to be with them. No, I don't want to be with them. But yeah, I'll use you to get a fix. And that was just not, I knew that was not okay. I want to share just a few things real quick that helped me through my journey of hooking up to kind of get to that point and really to get my self-control muscles nice and strong because it was exercising them over months and months and months. 2 years of this where I finally said, I'm done doing this. And now I have like little tiny urges, but it's so easy to just be like, nah. Whereas before, no. Like, I needed to develop the muscle. So how did I develop that muscle? Okay, one of them was, you have to tell people. Like, you have to talk to people and say, this is what I don't want to do. This is when I'm more prone to do it. God brought a girl in my life and we would struggle together. We would talk about all these feelings and these emotions and how hard it was. We would just share with each other in that. It was so nice to have her that I always knew when I'm struggling, I can tell her and she's there. And actually one of the times, my second time in Tanzania, there was a guy, first time in Tanzania that I was with, and I felt so tempted to want to reach out to him. I really did. He wasn't a bad guy. He was really, really great, but it was just, I knew I didn't want to be with him. I knew it was a situation of using someone. So basically I told her, I said, I'm feeling like I really want to reach out to him, but I don't want to, and I'm telling you to keep myself accountable. And I never reached out to him. I was there for 4 months. I never reached out to him, even though I totally did want to many times. But just the fact that I told her that I was feeling that I was struggling with that, gave me so much oomph, and I never reached out to him. So that was one of the things, was telling people, talking to people about this stuff. And then the other one was, I had this note. I want to read you this note real quick. I had to make this note to remind myself to bring myself back every time I had these desires and wanted to hook up. I said, when I want to hook up, I'm pulled to want this because I feel lonely, empty, or dry, impatient, tired of waiting, not trusting, physical attraction, wanting to feel wanted or desired, wanting so badly to just be held, missing touch so bad, wanting emotional connection, I'm depressed or sad, that F it mentality. I would realize, why am I pulled to want this? And then I would go through and say, post hookups make me feel empty, used, cheap, unclean, desperate, pathetic, weak, depressed, regret, disappointment, unfulfilled. The need for validation, attention, addicting, want more physical touch. Hooking up is like a drug. You get your fix and then you want more. You almost feel more empty than you did before because you had it and now you can't, or you don't want it with them. You feel close to them in a certain way, but you're not at all. It's so short and you're left wanting it again and again. Being attached to them for the wrong reasons, and a false sense of connection and closeness. And then I put down what I truly desire. So every time I would be struggling, I would go back to this note and read these. Look, this is why you think you want it. This is what you feel after every time. This is what you truly desire. And I'm kid you not, that really helped me. I had so much clarity of why I didn't want to do this, and so it was a matter of just following through and doing that. So telling people in my little note really helped me. Like I said, I'm out on the other side. I don't do this anymore, and I don't really struggle with it like I used to. So I'm telling you this stuff, it works, or at least it worked for me, so I hope it does for you. Okay, I don't want this video to be super, super long, so we're gonna get into the other shoot. Ready? Sex drive. Here we go. So sex drive, but this is more like in the context of a relationship and in the context of dating. So from that dating, you have two paths as well. You have dating for the reason of trying to find someone that you want to marry, and dating because you're kind of lonely and you're both just kind of mutually like, yeah, we'll commit to be lonely together. And you kind of sense that they're not right, but you're still just, you know, you're just doing it to have someone. And I did that for so long, and I just want to tell you, from a lot of years of doing that and then being single, it is so much better to be single and content being single, which, by the way, I love being single so much. That's what I'm gonna do my next video on. I'm gonna share why and how I got to a place of such contentment with being single. Like, I freaking love it. It is so much better to be single and secure in your singleness than to be with someone just because you're lonely. And that is totally from personal experience. I'm just telling you, that is not smart. The other offshoot of dating, you're dating someone because you're trying to figure out if there's someone that you would want to marry. And you're trying to get a window into who this person is, right? That's what dating is. You're trying to figure out who this person is, and you want to figure out your compatibility and all that. Sexual compatibility is pretty easy, okay? Emotional, relational, spiritual compatibility, that's a whole nother beast. That is very different, and that is a lot more rare, is to find somebody that meshes with you really well on those levels, and that fits, and that is what you want, and that is good for you. I'm gonna tell you a really groundbreaking fact. Your body loves sex and sexual pleasure, anything, sex and all the derivatives. We don't have to figure out if we like sex with that particular person. You don't need to test drive, you like it. Sex is the easy part. The other stuff, not so much. Here I have this water bottle, right? Like I said, you're looking through this window, you're looking through the water, you're looking through the glass to see, is this a person that I really want to marry? And you're trying to look for red flags, you're trying to look for inconsistencies, and you start to, you know, involve some of the physical. And like I said, physical is shaking up the waters because you're kind of confusing yourself, because your body loves sex. Your body loves physical pleasure. You're trying to see if you want to marry this person. You're shaking up, you're shaking up the water a bit. You're getting this little physical fix. You're like, ooh, I like that. And then all of a sudden you're thinking, did I just see a red flag? And it's kind of hard to see, and you're like, no, that wasn't a red flag. It was totally a red flag. You want the cleanest, clearest water possible to look through and pick out all those things to see if this person is who you really want to marry. This is one of the biggest decisions of your life. Why are we taking this lightly? I want to see that person and the relationship for what it truly is. Because I truly believe, like, the physical aspect makes it easier for you to ignore your gut and your intuition. Because you just want to save yourself from a bad marriage or problems by catching things early, right? And being with someone for truly, genuinely all the right reasons that matter. You want a very, very solid foundation built on that. God's design is flawless. When he says this is how you should go about this, it's because he knows our body, he knows our desires, he created us. There is an ideal. And so many of us settle for less than the ideal. I want to pursue excellence in the ideal in every area of my life, but for sure with one of the biggest decisions of my life. I love the analogy that people say sex is like a fire. It contained within the context of commitment, it is amazing, and it keeps you warm, and it is fun, and it's the best. Outside of that, it's freaking ravenous, and it can do a lot of damage. And so when you don't involve the physical, or you don't involve it too soon, you're basically committing, like, I want to know you, and I want to know you for what truly matters. And there's a little list of questions that I'm going to share. If you guys know me, God speaks to me in drawings and in diagrams and all of that. So I'm going to do the hookup sex flow chart with some questions of what you should really be focusing on. I just think it's so important not to involve the physical until really, really, really important things are there, and you know it, and you feel peace about the relationship, you feel peace about that person, and then you want to move forward. And your emotional, spiritual, relational closeness rises with the physical closeness, and not one over the other, because then you start to get a little cloudy. No gracias. We don't want to waste time and hurt our heart. I hope this video helps you in any way or speaks to you. If there is anything you want to talk to me about, if you can't tell by now, I am pretty much a total open book. I want to be real and transparent and open and vulnerable because I seriously want to help people and save people time and emotional, if I can. Next one, we're going to talk about singleness and how it is so awesome and what to do, how to get a new vision and excitement for your singleness in this season. And for me, this season, I'm so content and at peace. I'm like, God, if you want this for the rest of my life, I'm cool with that too. We got a lot to do, so I'll be single for you. That is how much I am content with being single and love being single. It is a time to get whole and healthy and free, and I'm gonna dive into that a lot more, so stay tuned. Ciao, friends. Thanks for watching. I am out.